this modulation of the gut microbiota because we had lower concentration of bacteria considered
Pathogenic? Yeah.
pathogenic, yes, to the animals, and such as Escherichia coli, and we had some increase of concentration of bacteria considered beneficial to animals, such as Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium.
Hmm.
So it's important also to say that about palatability.
Welcome to the Pet Food Science Podcast, and we're here today. I'm very pleased to be here. We're going to be talking about some interesting areas of pet food that I'm not as familiar with as perhaps many others. But we're with Dr. I always do this poorly, but Dr. Soares, and Dr. Soares is joining us, and we're going to talk about this area of essential oils. So these sort of uh, fatty acids that have interest to many people, including pet food science nutritionists. But I want to, if you would just give us a little bit of your background and how you got interested in pet food nutrition and sort of how you fit. I know you're currently in Brazil, I think, and so tell us about how that brought you into this area.
Okay, I have a bachelor degree in veterinary medicine from the Federal University of Paraná. It's in the city in the south of Brazil, and I have a master degree from the same university, also from the Federal University of Paraná in veterinary science. So my interest in animal nutrition, especially in companion animal nutrition, started when I was in, in college. So I've um, was doing a subject called dogs and cats nutrition, and that I was really interested about this field. So I did externship in a pet food industry, and then I continued my studies doing a master degree. So this is a field that really interested me. So I keep studying it.
As the world is looking for healthier, more natural, and sustainable solutions, InnovaFeed's Helucia protein and oil for pets offers a path to a brighter future for pet food. Helucia represents the convergence of the natural upcycling power of Hermetia illucens larvae with InnovaFeed's cutting-edge production technology to produce the highest quality ingredients for pet nutrition with the lowest environmental footprint. Hylucia protein and oil for pets has been meticulously developed, tested, and validated to deliver outstanding digestibility and palatability in both dry and wet pet food formulation, while environmental impacts have been validated through a published life cycle assessment. Learn more at innovafeed.com/Hylucia.
Okay, thank you. And how did you get interested specifically in essential oils? What brought you into that area of research?
Yeah, so essential oils in animal nutrition, especially in dogs and cats nutrition, we don't have many studies analyzing it. We have most studies with essential oils is on swines or poultry nutrition. So I was curious about it, and my master thesis was about the essential oil in dogs nutrition. So I've researched a lot about it, and I was very excited to learn more about it because it's as I said is it's a field that we don't have many research on the literature.
No, I know that too, and I've had some interest in it, although I have to tell you, I've never had any success in it. So I'm very interested to hear about your project. Now, help for the people listening in, help us understand what would you define as an essential oil? Because it's maybe a little different than the definition we might normally use.
Yeah, so essential oils are natural bioactive compounds extracted by different parts of plants, such as roots, flowers, leaves. They are extracted mainly by steam or water hydro distillation, actually. and it has a lot of properties, different properties that can be really helpful to animals, as antioxidant and microbial, anti-inflammatory properties. So the essential oils, they have mainly action against gram positive bacteria, but some components of essential oils, such as carvacrol and thymol, they can exert action even against gram-negative bacteria. So, um, mainly to start our conversation, I think it's this.
I wonder if you could just maybe give us some examples. What might be good examples of essential oil? I mean, because this whole phytochemical area is really a lot larger than the essential oil area. So like what did you personally work on? What are some good examples of essential oil?
Yeah, so on my master thesis, we worked on oregano, essential oil, which the main components are carvacrol and thymol. And it's good. We had some good results with it, but it's important to highlight that in my master thesis, we worked on oregano essential oil and also yeast cell wall. So it was not isolated, the essential oil.
In your project, they were together.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes. It was a blend.
So the yeast cell, were you specifically looking for beta glucans, or why did you use the yeast cell walls?
It was already together in the product, a commercial product.
Okay, probably in yeast they were looking for, I would guess, a microbiota effect, as well as what the oregano oil would do both to the microbiota and the pet itself. And this was done in dogs.
Yes, you mean the study about microbiota?
Yeah, your study, the one that you completed, and
Yes.
tell us about what your response variables were there.
Yeah, so we analyzed the gut microbiota and also the digestibility and palatability of the diet. And we had some really interesting results about the gut microbiota, because we saw that we had this modulation of the gut microbiota, because we had lower concentration of bacteria considered
Pathogenic.
pathogenic,
Yeah.
yes, to the animals, and such as Escherichia coli. And we had some increase of concentration of bacteria considered beneficial to animals, such as Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium.
Mhm.
So it's important also to say that about palatability, because oregano essential oils and essential oils, maybe in general, they have organoleptic properties.
Strong palatability properties, yes.
Yes, yes. They have like strong organoleptics properties. So we don't have many studies analyzing the palatability, but one that was using essential oils from plants from Brazil. We also had we didn't have an increase of palatability with this, and also with the research that I performed, we also didn't have increase of palatability. But the animals consumed the diets normally.
So my perspective of palatability is there's kind of two kind of tests. One is you present two or more options to a pet and say, which one do you like?
Yes.
And what you told me when that happened is they didn't really necessarily get a benefit out of the oregano essential oil with the yeast cell walls. But the other kind of palatability question is asking, do they, when they're offering this food, do they influence caloric intake? Is it perhaps so bad they don't want to eat enough of it? And in that test, it said no, they were just fine. They ate sufficient calories to maintain body weight and have health. So I think that's what you were telling me?
Yes, yeah. So like when we offer them two diets, like a standard diet and a diet with oregano essential oil and the East wall, like sometimes they first went to the pot with oregano essential oil with the
Yeah.
blend, but then they changed it to the other food, and then they eat completely the other food. So yes, it happened with what you said.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. What were you said you looked at microbiota, and so you had lactobacillus, you had bifidobacteria, things we sort of like them to go up. And then you had some negatives that you sort of maybe they weren't causing disease, but you sort of like them to go down. How did you measure those? What was your methodology for measuring the microbiota?
Yes, so we used a commercial kit to analyze it, the microbiota, and we did the collection of fresh feces, and then we put into microtubes, and then we put into a freezer and stored there for a few days, and then analyze it in a outside laboratory from the faculty to get the results from microbiota.
And when you do that, how many total, like, would you measure genera, or what level of distinction do you get on that analysis?
We get genera, and we had nine species that we had different statistical difference.
So you had species and genera level,
Yeah.
and then those nine included the lactobacillus and the bifidobacteria that we sort of all know going in. You'd kind of like to see them go up. Did
Yes.
did did you see that it mattered in any way? Those are kind of healthy changes, and pet food owner might think, I'd kind of like to buy a product that has that. Did you notice anything else going on in the pets, or was this just a study involving the microbiota?
Yeah, like we didn't notice anything else. We had the analysis of digestibility that we had great results, except that we had lower digestibility of dry matter when the diet contained 3 kilos per ton of the blend. But besides this, we didn't have anything else like about regarding the animals.
Just for our non-metric people in this, when you say ton, you mean 1,000 kilograms?
Yes.
Yeah, so 3 kilos, so you're at 0.3%, which is a sort of reasonable level for a fiber addition.
Mhm.
How much of that was the oregano oil?
How much essential oregano essential oil had in the blend?
Yes.
So we don't have this information.
Okay.
That's a limitation of our study actually, because we don't have this number, and we know that it's important to know exactly the amount of oregano essential oil we have, but we unfortunately we don't have it.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. So you sort of know the package does this, and many people, and I have done that, where you put in a package, the package has value. Subsequent research might pull those apart, right, and have a arm of study which was only the oregano oil, and an arm of study which was only the yeast cell walls, and say, okay, what part of this effect was being imparted by each one of those.
Yeah.
What do you think? That'd be kind of my next study. What would be your next study if you said, okay, I want to dive deeper into this? What would you look for?
I think I'd go deep for understanding only the essential oil, like separating from the blend, and maybe working on some animals that like some older animals or animals with some disease like obesity, for example, to understand the impact of essential oils, because it has this antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, so maybe can exert important properties also in this animals.
Wouldn't you want to look for those response variables, right? So you do something like glutathione, or look at any other the antioxidant sort of markers. And then, of course, as far as the inflammatory markers, one could look for cytokines, or even just other measures of inflammation that were circulating, to sort of go, well, did I influence those? So that would be pretty exciting. Well, what do you think? Is it just from the information you have? Would you recommend this product? I mean, I've not used it. I don't even know if it's available for sale in the United States. But it sounds like you had a very positive experience with it.
Yeah, yeah, I recommended it. As I said, we had some great results, and we also, like as I said, it impacted on the palatability, and maybe for the owners when they probably like are putting this blend to the animals, and they will see the animal are like not so interesting, yes,
Yeah.
with the food. So like I don't know how it would be, but the results on the animal, on the organism, it was a really interesting. So I recommended it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit just while we walk through this area. Isn't there a balance between what's happening, with the attraction for food versus what's happening with the benefit of the food? I myself love ice cream and chocolate, but if I ate that all the time, I sort of recognize that's a bad idea. How would you sort of say what do you look for? Is that kind of balance between what the pet loves and what the pet what the pet
Yeah, that's complicated because as you said, like you like ice cream, but we cannot eat ice cream every day.
yeah.
So that's complicated. We need to, as you said, we need to balance it. We need to do like a palatable food because the animal need to eat it, because the animal needs to show interest in it. But we also have to make food that it's have important properties on the animals. Um, Also that we have like this kind of properties like modulation of gut microbiota. So it's complicated to balance this this situation.
Well, what do you think? Would there be a difference on life stage, depending puppy and adult and senior, and then maybe what we would call geriatric? Is there a life stage thing that's worthy of consideration with something like the oregano oil and the yeast cell walls?
In our study, we the animals that participated in our study was adult, but I think on senior animals it would be really great results too,
Mhm.
because senior animals also have this inflammation. So I think it would be really helpful for them also to have this contribution with essential oils.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, help the audience as you think through this a little bit. What other what other essential oils? Like this is an interesting one, oregano oil. We all know oregano for the spice, and we use it in small amounts,
Yeah.
0.3% of the diet. I don't know how much that's working, but yeah, that's something. But what other ones are out there? Do you think that might be interesting? That might be a value, or that maybe you personally have familiarity with.
There are also the other essential oils. We had like rosemary essential oils. I commented in the beginning about essential oils from plants here from Brazil. A friend of mine, she performed a research analyzing the blend of essential oils of different plants from Brazil, like from different parts of Brazil, and she had also really good results.
What were those results that were positive? Was it microbiota again, or were there other markers?
Yeah, microbiota and also antioxidant properties. But in her study, they used animals that they performed dental surgery.
So there was a stressor. There was a stressor, sort of a part of the study in the recovery from the stress, which of course an anti-inflammatory component would be very valuable, I would think, in that research area.
Yes, yeah.
If you were to just, you got a chance here to talk to a multiple number of people, and you want to kind of point to an area of looking over the horizon. What would you think will be happening, a year, 5 years down the road in this essential oil area?
I think that further we are going to have more studies analyzing it. Like we still have, as I said, not much in this field, but I think that in 5 or 10 years, maybe we'll have more studies analyzing the effects on animal, on dogs and cats nutrition. Because as I said in the beginning, we have some studies analyzing the impact of essential oils on swines and poultry. because of that antibiotic. They're like trying to substitute antibiotic. But on dogs and cats, we don't have many studies yet on nutrition because sometimes we have some research using essential oils on the skin, like a topical.
So when it's done topically, has a lot different sort of opportunity for activity than when done orally, doesn't it? So there's quite a mix of what might be going on in the microbes of the gut that obviously the microbes of the skin just not so closely related, not maybe not independent,
Yeah,
but not so closely related.
but some research that I read show that when essential oils were applied topically, they exert this property of modulation of microbiota, and also in cases of dogs with otitis, it also reduces like some microbes such as malassezia. So it has also great results. We use it topically, but it would be a really good approach like to analyze it topically versus orally, just to understand the difference.
In the research you're referring to, when they looked at those microbiota changes, was it microbiota of the skin or microbiota of the gut as well?
Microbiota of the skin.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, I always ask, and because I think people are interested in this, tell me, in the teams you've worked on, I just want to talk about the career in pet food science a bit. In the teams you've worked on, what have you looked at for people maybe you'd like to be on a team with or like to encourage to join a team you're leading? What are the attributes you really look at that say, this is the individual I'm interested in?
I think I look in like a responsibility, also like a dedication and also proactivity, because it's really important. Like you have to like when you see like something like maybe a problem or something else, like you need to try to resolve it and try to talk to someone and to how you're going to deal with it.
Yes.
And also I think that the person needs to like what she or he is doing. This thing is really really important.
Do they like it? Was that the last point? Because there's a continuum, isn't there? Like, I always sort of think about this person far to the left of this continuum who loves their job so much they don't care if they get paid, and this person maybe far to the other side who cares so much about getting paid they don't really care what it is. And what I hear you say is you you're finding more success with team members who are maybe a little more to the side of, I just really love my job. This is just fun for me. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like everybody really really likes like what they're doing, and like they really have this passion for it. So yeah, but they also balance those both sides.
Yeah, yeah. It has to be both, doesn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, I sure see that too. Well, what would you see, as your career goes forward? Do you think you would like to continue to work in essential oils, or is this an interesting thing, but you want to see others? What do you see in the future for your own research space?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really interesting field. As I said, yeah, I would like to continue studying it. But yeah, I'm not only this, but yeah, I think we have much more to explore about it. So like in different situations, in different life stage, as you said, in different characteristics of the animals, if the animals have some disease, if the animals is healthy, or if the animal is going through some challenge like a surgery, for example. So I think we have much more to explore in this field.
And a deeper understanding clearly needed for, are we really finding an anti-inflammatory effect? Are we really finding an antioxidant effect with that microbiota change that you've already reported? So those areas are certainly significant. So yeah, that does make sense. Um, Well, do you have any questions, thoughts that you would like to sort of kick around here while we're online?
I don't think so. I think that we talk some about different parts. Like we talk about like the essential oils, like itself, and then we talk about some research about it.
Oh, I have a question for you. I sort of interrupted you. I'm sorry. Please continue your thought.
No, no, I was just going to say like just a bit more about the properties of the essential oils. For example, the about the modulation and how it happens on the animal, because I think it's important because we know it happens, but we have some mechanisms to how this.
ICC Animal Nutrition, a Brazilian company with 30 years of history and present in more than 70 different countries, providing natural, sustainable, and technological solutions for animal nutrition, health, and well-being in a safe and scientific way, adding value in food production and helping to feed the world.
Let's talk about that. I mean, so what do you see? We've talked about the microbiota as a mode of action. Is there specific other areas of the pet, or specifically how you see these interacting with the microbiota?
Yeah, like the essential oils, they cause a damage to the cell membrane and also to the protein membrane, and this will cause the leakage of some metabolites and also ions, and also changing the proton motive force, and then this cause the death of the bacteria. And as I said in the beginning, the essential oils have mainly action against gram-positive bacteria, but the mainly components of oregano essential oils, they can disintegrate the outer membrane of the bacteria, the gram-negative bacteria. So they also have action against this group of bacteria. So it's also important. This
How does that not disrupt the mammalian cells? What's protective for the pet as those disruptors hit the gut?
like you mean
I mean, if the essential oils are binding into the cell membranes and disrupting it, wouldn't that happen in the villi of the gut of the pet too?
no, it happens on like on the, as I said, mainly on the gram
On the
positive.
gram-positive cells, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that makes sense then, how that might work as basically as an antibiotic for the poultry and swine nutritionists, as they're trying to get away from antibiotics that might be a health issue for the basically for the human
Yes,
society.
yes,
So
yes.
that makes sense, and it also certainly brings to mind concentration, doesn't it? 'Cause certainly that effective concentration is got to be known. Sounds like you were able to find it with this amount you fed. That's sort of why I asked the question: how much oregano oil was there?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the question I was going to ask is the regulatory space in the United States? At least there's a lot of control about what can be put into commercial pet food, and even sometimes when we know it's valuable, we can't put it in because of regulatory reasons. Do you know anything about the regulatory umbrella that these oils are sold under, or are the controls that might be on them from a regulatory perspective?
Yeah, like I'm not sure. No, I don't have like 100% certain about it, but I think that it's controlled, but I think it's allowed. Like it's allowed here in Brazil that you put into
Mhm.
the pet food, but you have like some limitations also, like it needs to be controlled too, but I'm not sure about this regulatory part of it.
In the United States and Europe, yeah, it might be quite different. I yeah, it's a matter of just looking it up, but I don't know it off the top of my head either.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know actually, like we have some limitations, we have this control on it, but it's good to understand about it.
It's time for our famous three. Kemin Nutrissurance is compelled to provide safe and delicious ingredients to improve our pets' food so they can have the best quality of life. Every day, they deliver specialized expertise, innovative products, and unrivaled support through the pet food and rendering value chain. From oxidation control and food safety to palatability and nutrition, all the way through a suite of tailored services that support you from start to finish, we ensure you're getting the most from Kemin ingredients. Kemin is compelled by curiosity to ensure pets around the world are living happy and healthy lives.
Well, thank you for meeting today. I found this very interesting. I think this whole area of essential oils, as we look over the horizon and say new things that are coming into pet food, I think this is an area that we will want to watch. And certainly it connects well with our now understanding. When I first started doing work with uh, changing microbiota, we had no idea. It was the 1970s. You couldn't grow them, you couldn't measure them. You knew they were changing, but you didn't know what was happening. And now the techniques for measurement are so much better. So as that comes together, I can sure see how they will enhance each other.
Yeah.
So thank you. I think this is interesting, and I'm glad we could chat about it today. I hope the audiences found the areas of essential oil something that intrigues them. If you were to tell them where might they look, say a graduate student wants to know more about essential oils, where would you suggest they go to find that increased information, deeper information than we've been able to cover today?
Yes, like PubMed a lot. Like I did a lot of research
Yeah.
on PubMed. I recommend also not restricting the research for dogs and cats. Like maybe go and research about the other species, like swines. Then you'll find more information about it. And also you can look for information about essential oils on food, like human food, because it can also use it for it. So we have a really good research about it, and then we can understand a bit more in this research.
Well, that's good. The project that was your project and your research, were you able to publish that, or is that someplace that people could read it? How did that end?
Yes, it's published on the journal Animals, so it's
Uh-huh.
available for people who want to read it.
So they would look up your name
They will find it.
in Animals. I like the journal Animals. I publish there quite a bit myself. It's a good journal and I think broad application. So
It was published this year. So thank you very much. So if anyone wants to read it, it's available in that journal. It's a really interesting paper that we wrote.
okay, Dr. Saladas, thank you for your time today. I very much enjoyed learning a little bit more about essential oils and thinking about oregano oil at 0.3% with some yeast. So
Yeah.
wow, interesting positive results. So that's fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the invitation and thank you for our conversation.